Now, see, here's their drug manufacturer, my cousin, Teresa J. Armstrong, okay? And see what it says. Here's the case number, okay? Um, OWI 5th with passenger under 16 years old, her son, operating with PIC, 5th with a passenger under 16 years, operating that was dismissed. OWI 5th neglecting a child and blah blah blah. And here they are holding my children and trafficking and making demands on us all. Okay, sexual abuse and everything, kidnapping our children and filing false harassment and driving around drunk and false ticket and things. There's her 6th and 7th. You also see her manufacturer with Alan, Rick, Layton, and Jack Strunk, and others that they're hiding from you. And that again is their Emilio's and these cousins. And there's telecommunications fraud, which they threaten us with. And here's Jason's felony incest, all right? And Richland Center is where Pam Gorman is from. And you saw their Gorman criminals together. And you saw Alan Rick McGraw with my rape children they incested in the car. And they kidnapped and were holding and beating me and everything by Heimsness and that. And passing me to get raped by Arnold Darnell at their housing. Making us a prisoner of the police. You see him and Pam Gorman were picked up trying to bring their drugs, deliver their cocaine and opiates to Lorna's sister, Aunt Clara Stephenson Barton Landon in Dodgeville, Iowa County, and pick up their fentanyl from veterinarian McGraw. Okay? And you see that Arnold, Gail Darnell, Gail's repeat sexual offender, the same child, that they have been drug users and criminal degenerates in Monona with the Darnells who lived at 4308, who lived on Harding Street by Walter and Olbrich Beach. Walter connects Milwaukee Street and Cottage Grove Road. They've had ongoing issues with them collecting, including behind East Town and elsewhere. Times on us, okay? Now you see that incest. And, luring children using the phone and computer. Sex with a child underage 16 too. Nick kept having to rescue. And here's Jim and Gloria cheating on John Lynch at Antonia Caravello's house at 154 Belmont, conducting their drug and other criminal operations with Andy's cousins, Antonia and Dwayne Caravello, Gloria Caravello, Woodward Lynch Emilio, and her pervert Jim Emilio, and Dwayne the burglar, Dwayne Caravello, who are Andy's cousins. And you see Gloria cheating and getting into a hit and run with Jim Emilio the perverts at her sister's house under the influence of drugs. You see that? And they killed John and Nick Emilio too through our health care, Badger Care, falsely condemning our homes, looting us and everything. Do you see that? And their McGraws are just alike. In April, neglecting a child caused consequences death. 4th, drunk driving, and here they are. And there's the crackhead that McGraw and them were running around with that murdered Rita Dare's whole family. You see that? And there you go. Here they are pursuing us for court abuse and to subjugate us. And you see, don't you dare. No. You see that? Making up and pursuing me with the sheriffs and things for sexual assault that they arranged with my drug manufacturing cousins. And this right here is after they're depriving of utilities and everything else and sexually assaulting me at the housing, depriving of income, utilities in the winter, my transportation and phone and things that they smashed. Attack at Meritor, where you see they've been fracturing babies' bones and skulls and things with their associate SSM Health. as they've been misusing false commitments, journey, sexual assault relationships, and everything. You see that the counselor, Jennifer Slutka, I had gone to Wisconsin Veteran Affairs and others for help and protection. And just as I had run to Capitol Police for help during the course of their assault and kidnapping of Nathaniel, and you see that they have harmed and killed children, and that he had a life-threatening surgery, and there's no reason for that, and that I had a power of attorney and married to someone else, and you see that we tried to divorce, and Mosier won't let us. Mosier married us, and yet Mosier keeps letting them rape you out with the sheriffs and the police and the courts, and even incest. And so here you go, the vet service officer walked me over for them to finally take a report of their crimes and to find out where my child, and that he was not harmed, which he was. That's where his scars are from. They deprived him of nursing and everything else. They drug assaulted. You see them pursuing and making up things to detain and sexually abuse and to secure your person to impose their authority for use over us. And so you see that the vet service officer walked me over to Central District, and I was going, that. And you see that they kidnapped me instead. Just as they kidnapped me from the VA as McGraw's husband or wife. That he's not. And so they keep, here they are arranging to kidnap back their children that they made in rape and incest, just as they sexually assaulted my husband's child. And they sexually assaulted Cody too. And here they are misusing the courts to impose and the police to impose their crimes on us. And here's their whole chunk pursuing us. Whole chunk Greens, cocaine Mary Lynn Green, peddling our children, having elder and foster care, state of Wisconsin Community Services, and her relative Stephanie Green, tenant resource JFF, arranging sexual assault and trafficking as care, and to give back their rape children that the McGraws incested. And here's their long-term trafficking of my husband's son that they sexually abused. That has been going on for a very long time. And there's my power of attorney. And so June and the rest of them had no business pursuing or trying to take advantage of someone that's someone else's wife and a veteran, and holding my place to live, committing crimes, threatening me with the police, financial abuse. And the same thing with Nathaniel, where he could have died because they had an obligation to work with my POA. So therefore, they had no right to do this to me. And when you look at the basis of these perverted individuals, and that's why I'm going to show you this. And the VA, again, refuses to help us, including when they were planting their drugs and everything else, over and over, and letting them murder. And the same with Amaya Walker, displacing her, and then she gets to get sexually abused by Aprils and their friends. And, yeah. And then OD on her drugs. Now, here's the veterans that they denied Dale Lowoto his insulin because he would not be a part of their drug ring on children and also at Toma. So they held his insulin over a barrel. See, here's 4 veterans already that died. And then there's Lisa Dewey and Tom Stibe, okay? You see them abusing us and trying to murder us, including sexual assault. And so, yeah. So what I do, and I'll show you Wileen too. We're going to get into this, and that Lorna can't even describe me, and yet they're incesting, making rape children, and guns, And there's a neighborhood president with their drug operation. And, their buddies misusing Journey and things and leaning on, threatening and so forth. Now, you see, I don't think that, and you see that they're degenerates and everything, and making up that I'm nuts. Well, they murdered and sexually abused children. And, yeah. And you see their grow operations. And I'm as nuts as their made up marriage to Arnold D. Darnell or Alan Rick McGraw. That isn't. You see that? And I showed you what they did the same thing to Tara Cloud, Ashley McGraw, Stacy Knutson, Tara Cloud and her infant Lillian, and others. Anastasia Vang. So that way we have no choice, and none of their agreements are legal because it's under threat of harm, and they're illegally imposing themselves over us, taking us div. And that you can't give consent or anything. And so what is Arnold and them doing? Sexually abusing when when my grandma financially supported them. What are they doing? Using the housing that my uncles built. And the Tellurian and Port St. Vincent's. And here's my cousin Brenda. See in Morrisonville, you might have saw her vehicle. Okay, there's the VIN number. Her green Honda Accord. You see that? There's her address. Yeah. 2012, you see? Them plotting for our rape and to peddle us, her and her sister. And Laurel Martin. And she's not Caucasian, she's Apache. See how they keep playing with that? Like they're whitey looking relatives just like me. And see, you see that? And Mosier is the DA, their friend. That's the one who let Sean Strunk out too. And here's Lane McCraw. Possession with intent to deliver and everything, and his son's incesting and home invading the elderly. Here's my cousin Johnny. That's 5 counts of attempted to manufacture and deliver. And, yeah. And guess who the judge is in those cases, too? It's either the relatives of the McGraws, Judge O'Brien, Horst and Iris's relative, or, Professor Mosier. You see that? She got a sweet deal by Mosier, didn't she? And then they can traffic us. You see that? Pretty wild, huh? In public service. They were billing me for utilities they were depriving me of pregnant in the cast in the winter. You like that one? That's pretty wild, isn't it, too? And see, now when I requested a printout of all my records, a contact, and things, Mahoney produced it right away. He doesn't want their deputy and Libby Schmidt, deputy and Brent Fowler, and Fowler's uncle, Detective Hendrickson, to be shaking down tenants for rent and threatening to harm them. And with his gun and uniform and in the squad car with Brent and all these things. And you see, you don't know about Andy Height and all them. And yeah, you see them arranging, you see them, their misuse of the cash store and payday loans after illegally displacing us. But yet Johnny has a right to deliver drugs, Teresa's half-brother, commit incest, and sexually assault children. You see that? 4th degree, now is 1st degree for a 6-year-old child, and trying to sexually abuse me too. You see that? You see, they're pursuing us for trafficking and exploitation and peddling his cousins too. Ashley and April Caravello and myself and mine. You see, and making up charges. And here's where Tamisha Lindsay, their Chicago heroin drug runner that you saw throwing dope, and the sheriff tried to stop. MPD didn't, though. They retaliated, and June and them were making demands. And they had Heimsness beat me instead of rescue my children. And so you see him retaliating, and you see Tamisha Lindsay's nieces threatening us and everything else, and their Darbo drug operations and their arsoning, jumping in there and crushing the roof of my car and keying it, setting off the anti-theft. And then we've had Gasline and hitting up the brakes too. Okay, so my church would fix it, just like with the Chop Shop Hamburglar, lying and saying that I didn't change the oil when my church gave me a gift card. I got food and an oil change on my Cavalier, but he toasted the radiator. Now you see Rebecca St. John, you see them pursuing and demanding my sexual assault and holding my children and having them terrorized with law enforcement and beating me. And you see June and them, all sorts of things. Yeah, you see, incest and drug driving, including with their Ho Chunk bunch. Yeah. So why should they be exploiting our resources for drug? Why should they be sexually assaulting us and making bigamous rape rental marriages when they kill children? You see them interrupting their education, abusing, even incesting them. You see over and over. And so Braden, Anthony, and Tyler, and all the others destroying your vehicles. And see, what I have, according to a PhD, is that I have post-traumatic stress and some depression and scoliosis and my service-connected injury too. And so, yet they keep taking you hostage and insisting that you're bipolar and to be raped out, and using and billing the VA and us for that too. And this is Rick's friend Bill Batley, that Steps and them had their marijuana grow operation and turning on the gas, and threatening me at 4010 Laurie Circle and sending them fraudulent money and food share and things in prison. And then Dace and them started their grow operation. They bought plants. That's why they were hit up. And Dace still threatens and is still hiding out. And them and Garvin's and the rest are still drugs, illegal Enbridge, Hickston, Sand Frac, moving in their gangsters and stuff. And so I'm going to take a little break because it's hard on my back, and I'm going to show you some more, okay? Mm-hmm.